A Toby Green snap confirmed he's the Giants' all-time great, while in game 3-4-4, Tomahawk kicked a career-high 8. Age and injuries have become the Tigers' Achilles heel, and in a rainy Adelaide, the Plucky Pies commit another big steal. The Lions are back to their prime, Charlie's kicked 9, and the D's were simply sublime. This is Triple M Footy's midweek rub, and we cast our eyes over round 7, and straight out of the war room with Kingy, Lee Montagna joins us.
Hey, Rabsy, your intros are getting so good. Even people on this panel have been stealing them and using them for their own podcasts.
I don't know what you're talking about. We might get to that later on, though. Penfolds enthusiast Daisy Thomas.
Yes, well done, Rabbits. And I did have a go at the rhyming intro. A lot harder than you may think. So you do a fantastic job. I don't think mine did yours or came in any sort of comparison.
I can't tell why. And the only man who could do podcasts with both Hutchie and Triple M, Damien Barrett.
Ramsey, I'm a Penfolds enthusiast too.
You are. Yes. How are we, boys?
Yeah, good. Very good, thanks. It's just a nice couple of quiet weeks. We've had a hectic sort of start to the footy season, haven't we? And now we sort of start to get into the groove, and I think we start to get a real good feel of where the competition's at, and it's not long until... Well, the separations have already started.
Well, you like to wrap up the ladder after about round 3 normally. You've
Round
waited
4
till
you did
round
it last
year.
No, well, history does say, and we will touch on it, because history does say between about round 8 to 10, we actually do get a really good feel, and generally there's only 1 to 2 changes. So I say that for the fans that are in the top 8, you can start to get excited that there is every chance you'll be there. And for the teams down the bottom, it becomes very, very difficult.
And the extra round this year makes that even, I reckon, worse for the clubs that are struggling already. Yeah. I mean, they've already long seasons without the extra game that Gather Round created.
It's going to be a long winter for a couple of teams down the bottom. We might touch on them. But speaking of winters, it's getting that bit wet time of year, and it always comes to the Warrnambool races, and we're all racing enthusiasts here, aren't we?
We've all experienced it.
Have you been to the Warrnambool?
Yeah, years and years ago, back in the 90s twice, and loved it, but don't have the luxury
brilliant.
of going
I've never
now.
done it yet. It's on the bucket list, but I haven't been able to have time.
Grand annual day when you go, everyone goes up to
On
the
the
hill.
hill,
Yeah. So the whole race meet goes from the stands and the marquees. Everyone leaves and goes up on the hill for the greatest vantage point. And to see where the actual horses run live, they piss off out of the track. They go up near houses, all the way up and around. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, have to press the button and cross at the crossings. It's absolutely incredible.
So you're going tomorrow? You're going to drive down in the morning, or what's your plan?
I'll drive down probably tonight, and then
You drive
maybe
down
back.
to our helipad, I've been told, Dose.
What?
Yeah.
Got some breaking news, Damo.
I'll drive to Essendon and then sort of make my way quickly down to Warrnambool.
How are you getting there?
A mode of air transportation.
It's not a hot air balloon, so you're getting a helicopter.
I'm getting lucky
here
enough
he is.
that one of the people I know, a good man and a good blues man, had a couple of spare seats for tomorrow, so I snaffled those
You
up.
cop that, though, don't you, flying from Melbourne
do
to
that.
Warrnambool.
Yeah,
but Luke Darcy's behaviour when he flew from the city to Whitten Oval one day, that is still
One's
one
a
of the more
4-hour trip, one's a
disgraceful...
14-minute trip.
Yeah. that is one of the most disgraceful... and he was celebrated as, coming back to the Whitten Oval, and he got off a helicopter. So, hey, we're going to be seeing a bit more of each other this week, too. Are we public with this yet or not? About what you guys are doing Friday night?
I think so. Are you in as well,
Ribs?
Friday, or just me?
I'm not
in
sure.
Friday. Yeah, I'm in the Friday huddle.
I'm planning not to be. I've got dinner.
Maybe I've gone
But
early.
I can be. I can cancel.
Last I heard was you were both... Yeah, this Wednesday crew was being transferred to Friday.
I'm definitely being asked to do Friday. Luke Darcy, he's away.
I don't know who was missing, but one of us was missing.
This is awkward because I haven't been asked yet. So.
Is Howie back?
I was
Howie's
told
in
you were
India.
doing it.
Is Howie still in India?
Howie
yeah.
buggered off to do the
And
cricket.
Am I required Friday night?
I actually have no idea, and I'm part of the roster.
Oops.
There we go.
Anyway.
Well, you need to find out. It is Wednesday, and he's got you got the races tomorrow, so you got to come back in good nick.
Oh, boy.
Well, make sure you go to the right airport, because last year, I think it was Campbell Brown, was flying down to Warrnambool, and he went to Essendon Airport, and the flight was from Moorabbin.
No, I'm sure the driver provided will take me to the right spot.
You've lost it.
Fair dinkum or Fugazi, plus our predictions for the upcoming round still to come. But it's been a huge day in the AFL today, Damo, with Tassie officially becoming the 19th licence. We're going to touch on that next in your news segment. It's the Midweek Rub, Damo, Daisy and Lee Montagna. But now it's time for Damo's news, and the AFL are down in Hobart for a big announcement. Damo?
Yeah, the long-awaited and much celebrated 19th licence being granted to Tasmania on the back of the federal government on the weekend coming to the party with a $240 million grant, effectively, for the construction of the stadium. $715 million in total, mainly state government and federal government money. There's a bit of AFL money in there. They're so good at that, getting stadiums built without putting a lot in. And now the fun begins with the naming of the team when it starts. And look, just to back over, when we're talking today prior to the official 2 p.m. Hobart announcement of this licence, the licence is a given, it is granted. But when it comes in, it won't be before 2027 is the way I read it as before the announcement. And what it's called and how the list is compiled, that's all to be debated over coming weeks and months. And the fun and worry begins because it is going to be a big financial drain on the competition as its inception, and also a player drain from both clubs with players at the moment and access to the junior talent.
As a general idea, I think we all love it. We love Tassie as a place to go and visit, and we think with their footballing pedigree and what they've done for the game, they deserve themselves to have a licence and a team down there. So I think at the top level, that's fantastic. But as you say, I think now the problems start to begin. How do we actually put a competitive team down there? We've seen the Gold Coast Suns, which is arguably a much better destination in terms of lifestyle than going down to Tassie, really failing to fire any real shots, still haven't played a final in their existence. How does a Tassie team then come in and not just be an also-run?
Yeah, well, the Gold Coast might be a better place to live, but it doesn't have as much football soul and pedigree as Tasmania. So I think it's more likely to succeed. And I think the way you start now with the 4 or 5 year lead up is they've got to put heavily invest in the development junior programs. So start early at under, what are we, probably under 13s, 14, start to identify some talent and really build an academy and have some young talent. So in 5 years' time, we hopefully have 6 or 7, 18-year-olds that can walk straight into that Tassie side. And then from there, however they do the list sizes. But I think I'm a fan of it. I think we've got to continue to be progressive as an AFL, and they're going to have a strong fan base. They're going to be heavily invested, the state, in the football side. It is a football state. They're mad for it. So, look, I mean, it's going to have its challenges. We know that. But
yeah.
I'm excited for it. We've got to continue to evolve.
And the AFL has done the negotiations very cleverly. It is on the government's head if there's a blowout cost-wise. And there will be. I mean, no one, even just people who renovate half a house these days, know that whatever price you're given at the start of it looks nothing like what it is at the end of it. So while we're not experts in this space, we know that is going to happen. And how it looks, and then you've got the new CEO who we'll touch on soon in Andrew Dillon, and what that game is going to look like under his watch. But he's already publicly spoken. He wants a roof. To me, it doesn't fit into that price zone. So, again, hopefully we'll know more over the coming weeks and months.
So as you have it now, before lunchtime on the Wednesday, before the announcements, it's going to go ahead as proposed without a roof.
No, that's all for discussion. The plans that are in place, they look really nice in the drawings you've seen, aren't they? And the way it's going to look. But beyond that little sketch, there's not much detail to it. Look, hopefully, again, we are talking before the official announcement, and hopefully there's some form of concrete element around what they're going to announce today. But there's a lot of questions.
So even in that, there's going to be a lot of work to do still around the precinct, isn't there? That could go for ages in regards to I've heard, so the roads and parking and the historical sites and housing and some other things they want to do around the precinct. So it's all great in their heads, but to actually make it logistically work, as you said, he's still going to be. That'll be the first big challenge for the next couple of years, won't it?
Massive challenge.
Without a roof, though, it's near on, not pointless, but in terms of you want a supporter base to go, if you build a boutique 35,000 seat stadium.
Well, it's only 22 or 23, by the way.
There you go, 23,000. If it's going to be pissing rain in the middle of winter, 11 degrees, you'll get your 1,000 diehard fans, but the rest of it will be empty. If it's going to be hosing down, put a roof on it, then it'll encourage everyone to go along. The footy, the actual spectacle will be better. The quality of games, teams going down there won't be so annoyed that you're going to go down and get a 40-knot breeze coming off the bay. I think it has to have a roof or it's good enough as bust.
Yeah. So we'll know more. And again, it will take some time. I do expect Brendan Gale, who's come second, third, fourth or fifth, whatever number you want to put to it, to the AFL CEO search, that conversations have already been had with him to become a key part of AFL football department. And I would imagine, given his connections to that state, that a large part of his portfolio would, and at least initially, be Tassie. So that will be
about a name. I did footy talk with Nick Rewalt yesterday, and we just talked about the idea of who could be involved in the Tassie setup. He mentioned Eddie Maguire, just because of how great he is with the lateral thinking, the left field thinking. Should they heavily lean on Eddie for advice and to sort of help with what it should look like?
Is that someone advice, but not to play a role in it. Right. I wouldn't have thought. I mean, again, it is too all over the place to I think to be properly invested in that one project. But yeah, I mean, I've spoken to Ed today about it for Footy Classified reasons tonight, and I'm really keen to see what he puts to air tonight because he knows more than all of us put together when it comes to what's going on behind the scenes. But yeah, I mean, I hope they do tap into him, but not to have an official role, even as like an ambassador for it.
Yep.
That's just my take, Joey. Yeah. Collingwood, we've celebrated so much, haven't we? And with obvious reason with what they've done the last 2 years. What we learned today, and Joey, I'm stealing this from the other show I do, AFL Daily. The producers there discovered something. They don't just get you in the game, you lose to them on that particular round. They get you the next week as well.
Yeah. Again, I heard your stat, and I don't mind it. I like a good stat.
I didn't hear it. What was it?
So you got to tell the stat.
Hang on, has this been done, has it?
No,
not hear it?
No.
No.
He just said it then. So what's the stat
No,
about Collingwood?
they get you the next week, but like in what terms? They 100% losing
the team
rate?
that they play on a particular week loses the next week 4 out of 5 times.
Okay, well that's probably.
So I'm being set up here, aren't I?
No, you're not. I just heard the AFL Daily, and I thought that's not bad. I like a good stat.
Yeah, well, you listen to the show.
And I listened to it. And I thought that's interesting. So then, but I don't want to shoot you down too much, Damo. But
Right.
then I just went and did a
Shoot him
look and
down.
went, well, that's not bad. So 4 out of the 5 teams they've beaten have lost the following week.
Yeah.
So I just had a quick look and just did a breeze.
Yeah.
Well, Melbourne have played 6 teams, and all 6 teams that they played have lost the following week. So there's
That's even better.
That's even better. So I know you were very excited with your stat, but Melbourne have actually
But Melbourne haven't won 6 matches though, Joey.
No, but they've won 4.
Yeah.
But all 6 teams they've played have lost the following week.
That might trump that other one.
Yeah, I think it does. So I did hear it. I thought, it's maybe a bit of an.
Did you steal that off Kingy's laptop?
No, I actually listened.
Tell the truth.
I
Hand
listened
on
to
heart,
Damo's
hand
podcast
on
in the
Ralph.
morning, and I thought, hey, is that a genuine thing that Collingwood have? The team they've played have lost 4 out of 5, and I looked and I went Adelaide, Port Adelaide in a showdown. Richmond got beaten in the wet by the Bulldogs. That's not bad. And then I just thought, wonder how the other teams, the top teams, go. And Melbourne. Every team they've played have lost the following
You know
week.
what?
So.
I should have learnt, shouldn't I, Days, not to get into the stat space.
So
It's
just don't go with
Joey's
it
and
on,
Kingy's.
All I'm saying, don't go with it on classified tonight because it's not a bad stat.
No, go with it, but then say also Melbourne and say you came up with the research
Oh,
yourself.
no, you got to attribute if you know where it's come from. But although we all talk so much, don't we? We sometimes don't realise that someone else has already said it.
But back to Collingwood, it is. I mean, I
Collingwood
don't
goes
know
all
what
right.
else we could say about Collingwood and their comebacks from behind. Like it's phenomenal what they keep doing.
I understand your point. They take you to the last minute,
The deep
regardless.
end.
You have to play 120 minutes against
and
them.
then they get you. Well, again, is it a physical component or is it a mental component or is it 50% of both those facets when you lose the next week as well?
It's a combination of both for Collingwood, and there's no doubt an element of the team that's in front. It keeps getting into the habit of trying to shut shop as opposed to actually going, right, we know Collingwood are going to be as aggressive as they are. We need to be just as aggressive back at them because we'll get opportunities to score. But you continue to watch, and it was Essendon Anzac Day, it was Adelaide on the weekend. You're watching it going, if you continue to shut shop, you know that just opens the door for Collingwood to keep coming. So I can't wait for the next team that's up by 20 points at three-quarter time against Collingwood and says, you know what? They discuss it at three-quarter time and say, we're going to go even harder to kick more goals. Because if we try and play safe and conservative, we're opening the door for Collingwood. So
it's an unbelievable feeling being a a Collingwood fan at the moment, but also the belief within the playing group. Very rarely do you have, and in every game, like yes, you go, we've got a run on here, we might be a chance. I just believe that every time, it doesn't matter how far behind they go, they're like, right, well, okay, we know what we're going to do here, and we are a genuine chance. The most exciting team to watch by a mile. Watching that Adelaide game,
every time,
you almost wanted Adelaide to kick a couple more so the chase was even greater. Because you're like, how good actually are these Bob? And every time that we pose that question, they answer it unanimously.
Yeah.
Has there been a more versatile footballer, let's go with the last 15 years of footy, than Mark Blicavs?
It's a great question. Probably not. And what's amazing, he wasn't even a footballer as a junior, was he? He was a steeplechaser.
Wow.
Now, 198 centimetres, who can run like the wind.
Came into the system in 2012 after that Geelong premiership.
Raw as a footballer. And what they've been able to do with him and make him one of the most important players for any team in the competition, it's amazing. It's a great story. It led to their success. I think, again, they've been ahead of the game, ahead of the curve in regards to needing a real, genuine ruckman, or do you just need someone who's tall, who can compete, and then join in around the ground? And, he's been super. I saw he signed for 2 more years, which is great news for him and the Cats.
In the same quarter, he'll ruck and he'll ruck rope.
Yeah.
In the same quarter. And we know he's won a best and fairest as a backman. He's won a best and fairest as a wingman or an on-baller /wingman. So and he can go forward and create some damage. Not necessarily on the scoreboard himself personally, but he'll create an issue where someone's got to go and man him as well when they need him.
Yeah, spot on. And they're back, the Cats too. All their players are back in form. Their system's there again. They're playing some rock-solid footy, so watch out.
Andrew Dillon, as we now know as of Monday of this week, officially taking over from Gillan McLachlan in October. That's when the official transaction and transition takes place. He's going to be, despite what has been his makeup for this time in the game, a backroom operator. He's going to be his own man, and I don't think for a minute anyone should be thinking he's not going to be speaking his mind when he needs to. He's already started to do that in the short time he's been in play, and as I keep saying, there's not one decision that Gillan McLachlan made that didn't either have his full input or his sign off on. So he knows how it works. He's got really strong relationships with all the clubs, and he's a club person in their eyes, which is significant because they feel there's been a bit of a breakdown at times between clubland and official headquarters work, and Dillon will, I think, be going out of his way to make the clubs feel as though they're all in the same game.
I love the fact that he's coming in and going to do it his way. That's why he's been appointed, because he is such a good operator, been behind the scenes for so long now. Come in, do it your way. Don't try and be a mini Gill. Put your stamp on it. Do it your own way.
And he still has a huge role. I mean, we're talking about the Tasmania licence and the Hawthorn racism and all the things that Gill wants to sort of see before he's out. But the CBA is still a massive issue for both the women and the men's players, and that's a long way off. He's got a massive job on his hands to try and come to an agreement with the players. I don't think it's been spoken enough about where this CBA lands and what it means for both the clubs, the AFL, and the players.
When's the current one up?
Well, currently we're in overhang, aren't we, from the last one?
Yeah,
they're actually playing without one, if that makes sense.
It's meant to be done at the start of the year.
Yeah.
And they're still a long way off what it looks like.
We're the only sport in the world that does that, and it's not the first time it's happened, isn't it? So.
Yeah, anyway, interesting.
Yes. Patrick Dangerfield is on track for a record 9th All-Australian Blazer, and as a caveat to that, he owes Stevie J.
Fair dinkum. For those of you who don't know, Stevie J gave him a clip. It was in the first quarter against the Hawks where they were losing, still playing pretty poorly. And Stevie J just said he needed to be defensively better, have more of a crack. And from, I don't know how Stevie's taking credit for it, but we'll give it to him. From that point on, it seemed that he actually turned his season around. He became fantastic in the second half. I find it quite funny how much as an industry we jump on these champions and give them a genuine clip for underperforming. They're always going to turn it around at some stage. It's easy to jump on them and say, yes, they're underperforming, but we expect them to get it back. He was getting kicked from every person, man and dog. So to see him and his team's form turn around, I think that's all fair dinkum.
Do they need Joel Selwood now after 7 weeks? Because after 2 weeks it was, no Joel Selwood, no Cats.
This is the whole thing. So no, that's
well, your mate said they wouldn't make the finals. Kingy.
Yes, he did. He said they were cooked. Yes.
We've all made those calls.
That we have, yeah.
Damo, it's never been harder to hate Collingwood.
Oh, yeah, that's been the case. That is absolutely fair dinkum. And that kicked in for me personally, I reckon, say around 17, 18, 19, whenever it was last year when they got on that run. And it's actually become more enhanced right now. It's impossible to. It's not just hard to dislike. It's impossible.
Completely agree. Absolutely enjoying watching them play every week.
Joey, if Jeremy Cameron ends the season on 99 goals, it will be partially Ollie Henry's fault.
Turnover. Sorry, Robbo. Turnover.
That's all right.
And they got players running everywhere, the Cats, and Henry.
No.
17 teammates inside forward 50, and he torched them all.
He absolutely burnt Jeremy Cameron there.
He got up so slowly, as if to say, the man on the mark's got me covered, Jezza.
He couldn't even disguise that well enough. Yeah, Jezza Cameron still putting the paw on Ollie's face after he got absolutely torched by Ollie Henry, who tried his very hardest to pretend he didn't see Jezza and then was slow to get off the mark. And in the end, he went back and kicked the goal, luckily, but that was as big a burn as I've seen.
Damo, now this really hurts me to ask this because I'm part of this team as well, but I'm going to play you some audio. The Sunday rub is rudderless without Nathan Brown.
Yes,
For McDonald's and Ream Hot Water.
Triple M Rock Footy. You blokes sticking me up.
No, that's Fugazi, because I've heard Brownie host shows and can't talk at times. He had a couple of incidents on Friday night. So, Fugazi on that one.
Well,
that was craft too. That was Joey and I giving each other a
Set
wink
up.
and a nod, just trying to make Jay-Z uncomfortable.
well, fancy you say that, Damo, because this is coming out of the first break where Brownie was hosting.
Brownie.
Welcome back to the Sunday, Rob. Sorry, I thought you'd been.
What happened on Sunday?
We love Brady. He was coming from the Footy show.
He
Sunday
was.
Footy
He
show.
left really quickly.
Jezza came in and had his chest out because he thought he was getting a chance to host. Joey made that go down like a wrought iron hang glider and just said, no, sit in the back row, son, I've got this. And then I chimed in over the top every now and again. So
you just pulled rank, did you?
Yeah, and that was a
rightfully
miscommunication. Yeah, there was a bit going on. We all got there a couple of minutes before. 12 o'clock start threw us a bit, and then Brownie was late, and Stevie J was huffing and puffing
he
because
didn't
want to
bring
be
his
late
Sunday
again.
supper either. So we're all
I
starving.
caught up with this bit. I listened to that on the way home from the Footy show. Yeah,
Can't wait for this Sunday.
That's poor form.
Actually, can't wait for Stevie J. He promised he's going to make up for it this Sunday.
It sounded good.
Should be good.
His promotion of that. Yeah.
Sorry to hit you with a hard-hitting question about footy.
Yes.
Daisy, if Adam Simpson was at any other club, the pressure would be way up on him.
I'll go Fugazi. I think West Coast have got a plan at the minute, and they're just putting their faith in behind him that they expect to be going this poorly. So
What's the plan?
Well,
To lose every single week?
No, well, to just not bring a new coach in as part of a rebuild, to have him see it out until it gets to a point where they look like they're going to start climbing. So therefore, if there is a new coach coming in, he isn't under the same pressure or greater pressure than Simpson should be under. But I'll still go with Fugazi.
I agree with you. I think it's the right plan. If he's happy to do the rebuild and West Coast happy for him, why bring in a young first-timer in a situation where they are decimated and still trying to find talent? Let Adam Simpson do it, build it, do the hard yards, and then when they start coming out the other side, then you can appoint the coach that's going to take the next team into the future.
Damo, you're the media man. Melbourne dropping the Kozzy Pickett re-signing news an hour after the AFL announced Andrew Dillon will take over Gil McLaughlin's position is one of the more baffling media decisions.
I didn't actually line that up with what happened there, Rabsy, but that is fair dinkum. Why would you waste that sort of release, given the media, which I'm part of, is craving for any type of news of that nature? So there must have been another political reason for that being the case. Sponsorship-wise, maybe. But, yeah, you wouldn't waste that normally, would you?
No, you wouldn't. Speaking of Tassie, now that's been ratified, I've got to ask you the really important question here, Joey. Cascade Draught is one of the most underrated beers in the world.
No, that's Fugazi. I can't drink the Cascades.
Cascade
Are you a
Draught.
Cascade man?
Cascade Draught.
No.
In the cans down in
Really?
Oh,
Delicious.
unbelievable.
Can't say I've had too many, but I'll go Fugazi.
All right, well, that question fell flat.
No,
it's all right.
good.
Daisy.
Yes.
Our man Lee Montagna has somehow got himself a personal sponsorship with Ralph Lauren Polo.
No, that's fair dinkum. I think this is 6 weeks in a row, either on a Sunday or a Wednesday. You've come in a different Ralph Lauren setup.
Wow.
It's the same one. I just wear the same
you
jumper.
got a
all the time.
T-shirt too.
You've got a T-shirt.
Oh, yeah, I got a T-shirt. Yeah.
So
I
that's
did
fair dinkum.
it. Good,
Yeah.
good.
And we appreciate the people at Ralph Lauren sending
Two for
Joey
one.
and Damo and I some new clothes. I'll be a large. Damo, you probably a small, medium, and Joey a large as well. Thank you very much.
Large. And back on the Cascade Lager, someone talking about that. Great drop.
Yeah.
Fair dinkum. Yeah. So.
I'll stick with you, Damo. Damien Hardwick has a short memory.
You've previously commented on you don't like coming here. Like, do the players not enjoy it? Like, is it one of those things that get away from the G? And
Mate, you're saying that. I've got no issue with it, to be honest. End of the day, it's a ground. It's green. It's got goalposts.
And this was last year.
Mate, I hate coming here. Probably shouldn't say that. So if you want big crowds, play our home games at the G.
That's fair dinkum, Rabsy.
Good one.
Yeah, it's grassy, you said, is on it. Yeah, it's got a roof as well, and you kick 6 goals. So yeah, they hate it. Go back to last year.
They lost their last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
They do hate it.
Yeah, they do hate it.
Speaking of Marvel Stadium, we are there on Friday night for Carlton versus Brisbane. We don't know if Daisy and Joey are there yet in the
I
Triple M
might just come
capacity.
regardless now.
But we're going to get your predictions up next on Triple M Footy's Midweek Rub. Joey, Daisy and Damo. Yeah, some huge games coming up in round 8, kicking off with Carlton versus Brisbane. But before we get there, let's get your certainties from last week. No
I'll
worries.
take the Cats to beat the Bombers as my certainty. You back? You back, people?
My certainty is going to be
Already forgotten.
Richmond to beat Gold Coast.
And Damo.
I'll take the Crows to beat the Pies.
As a
my certainty.
certainty. I love that. That's huge. I love it.
I don't think he's taking this seriously.
No, I am. I just don't get it right regularly. And again, I didn't, but I was close.
You were close.
I'll nearly give you that.
Oh, will you?
That deserves a win. Yeah. Anyone else but Collingwood, you were right. So, well done.
I mentioned it a few times throughout the podcast, but Carlton versus Brisbane kicking us off on Friday night under the lid at Marvel Stadium.
Yeah, this is going to be a cracking game. Carlton, it looks like they've hopefully unlocked their ball movement. We've seen it from a few other teams this year. Once they've had an easy kill, they've continued on with that free-flowing football. Brisbane and Geelong come to mind.
Yeah.
Makes it hard. I like the way Brisbane are going as well. I'm going to go Carlton, though, at home. My theory when it's 50-50, go for the home team. I thought that way with Adelaide, but missed out against Collingwood. But I think Carlton could get the chocolates.
Yeah, I still want to see one more from the Blues. They, yes, got their ball movement going on the weekend, but I could have kicked 3 or 4 in that game.
Yep.
Brisbane flying too, going for 5 on the bounce, I think. Won 4 or 5 against the Blues. They're the outsider, so I'm going to tip an upset. I'm going to go, unfortunately. My heart is saying, obviously, the Blues, but I'm going to tip an upset.
I'm back with Joey. I'm going for the Blues. I like what I saw last week against the easy kill, and Rich and Zorko, while they're at their latter stages of their careers, are out on the weekend.
Out?
They're out, yeah. So I like what the Blues did last week, and I'm still just don't want to jump off them just yet, while they've disappointed me in some games.
Geelong Adelaide, the game that the Saturday Rub team was doing until JB called Ewan and pulled rank, and they're going to the MCG. That's huge down at GMHBA Stadium, Geelong versus the Crows.
That is a big one. I'm fascinated to see how the Crows go. I think every year, is there normally sort of one game a year where a team goes down to Geelong and knocks them off when no one expects it? Think about Fremantle last year.
The Giants, I think, did it as well.
A couple teams. So maybe Adelaide are an outside sniff in this one to cause an upset.
When did Freo beat them? Was that last year or the year before?
Last year, wasn't it? Early. It was a real
Must have been early.
It was early in the season.
My foreman said they've won their last 8 at GMHBA Stadium, the Cats.
Yep.
So they obviously played there a bit by an average margin of 56 points.
Yep.
So they give teams a proper touch-up. Adelaide are flying, but I can't see them winning in that one.
I just can't either. I love what they're doing, and if you take out last quarter from their previous 5 weeks, it's been a really, really good patch of form for them, but I just cannot see them going to Geelong to beat them, so Cats for me.
Canberra on Saturday night. These two teams do not like each other, Damo. GWS versus Bulldogs. There will be fireworks.
I'm going to tip, this will be my upset, the GWS team on this one. They're pronounced outsiders. I like how they've held in there and hung together this year. Got some results, and what they did last week, I think, against the Swans will be the start for Adam Kingsley really getting his way through. So GWS for me.
I'm going my Bulldogs for a certainty. Bulldogs will be my certainty this week.
Does your foreman say that Giants struggle at Canberra? I don't think they've won at Canberra for a while.
They're not going great.
Yeah, I'll go Bulldogs as well. I think GWS have got a pretty ordinary record in Canberra.
My foreman is me, by the way. I just tried to make it sound like I was more important.
These two teams are going very well. Port Adelaide are absolutely flying. They're back at home at Adelaide Oval, and they're up against Essendon, who after quarter time, Joey, were actually pretty good against the Cats.
Yeah, they were. They're scoring. Offensively, they're fine. Defensively is now just a little bit of an issue where Port Adelaide are the opposite. They are one of the best defensive teams. Defence always stacks up, so I think Port Adelaide will get it done again.
Until Port shows a sign of weakness, I'm just going to keep on this roll, and Port for me.
I concur.
All right, and Collingwood versus Sydney at the MCG on Sunday to round out our predictions.
Yeah, this is an easy one. Sydney will be 20 points up at three-quarter time, and then Collingwood will come back and win by 3 points.
I've got the Pies winning that one easy, just because of the Swans' backline issues still at play.
Correct.
So just recap your certainties.
My certainty will be Fremantle over at home against Hawthorn. They'll get the win.
I'm going the same for my certainty. Fremantle to beat Hawthorn.
Western Bulldogs in the nation's capital.
All right. It all kicks off on Friday night. There will be fireworks there as well, Daisy. Catch every game across round 8.
Am I doing this?
On a Triple M, starting with the blockbuster clash between Carlton and Brisbane, live from 6 p.m. Friday night with Luke Darcy, Jason Dunstall, Nathan Brown and Damien Barrett. So you're not doing it yet.
That's on the sheet.
Am I doing it or not?
One of those 4 names you've mentioned, I don't believe will be there.
I'm going to grill on the hill with
Joey's
you.
in and Daisy
No,
might have
stuff
a
it. If you don't tell us by
vest as well.
midday, we're going the grill.
I want to go to the grill on the hill.
Tune in on the Listener app or on Triple M from 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to find out who the hell is doing Friday Night Footy on Triple M.